exactly 17:23 on June 5, 2025, an Israeli F-16 pilot received the three-word message that would shatter the evening communication of Atalanta. Time to go within minutes. 4 of Israel's most advanced fighter jets would deliver the most brazen escalation, yet precision strikes to Beirut's densely populated suburbs on the eve of Islam's holiest celebration. The pilot had been strapped into his cockpit for 12 minutes, the Pratt & Whitney F-100 engine idling. As ground crews completed final weapons checks beneath each wing, hung 2 Rafael Spice 2000G guided bombs. 4,000 very accurate bombs that could thread through a specific window from 60 kilometers away. But tonight's mission would require something far more dangerous than long-range precision. They'd have to get close enough to see their targets burn tonight. The F-16I Sufa was the only choice for their urban strikes. These single-engine, multi-role fighters excel at the kind of precision work Beirut's dense neighborhoods demand. Their superior agility allows rapid target transitions in cluttered airspace. More importantly, the F-16I's fuel efficiency permits their extended loiter time critical when you need to hold for 60 minutes while civilians evacuate. At 17:24, the formation leader advances the throttles. The F-100 PW2209 engine responded instantly, generating over 29,000 lb of thrust. Despite having the massive payload, the heavily loaded F-16I accelerates down Ram David's runway at 165 knots. His wingman follows 10 seconds later. Then the second pair at identical intervals by 17:26. All 4 jets are airborne, climbing through 10,000 FT in a precisely staggered formation. The mission profile demands surgical timing. 8 targets are spread across Beirut's southern suburbs: Hadath, Heret, Harik, and Burj Abaraj, plus 2 more in South Lebanon. Each aircraft carries enough bombs for 2 targets, meaning zero margin for error. Miss 1, release window abort 1 run, and the entire strike package unravels by 17:42, exactly 60 minutes before the first bomb falls. Israeli military spokesman Avishai Adre begins posting on social media. These are not encrypted military channels or diplomatic back channels, but on Twitter and Telegram, the warnings include satellite photos with red circles around specific buildings, telling anyone there that those buildings will be Beirut's latest parking lots in the next hour. This isn't psychological warfare, it's legal compliance with a tactical twist. International law suggests warning civilians when feasible, and Israel documents every warning for potential future tribunals. But those 60 minutes create predictable patterns that military planners exploit. Traffic flows become rivers of intelligence, which buildings empty immediately, which see frantic vehicle loading, which remains suspiciously calm. All of this information is valuable. The pilots stay in a holding pattern at 28,000 RF to monitoring encrypted tactical frequencies as intelligence updates flow from reconnaissance assets. Drone footage shows the evacuation in real-time cars, fleeing certain buildings, while others remain untouched, inadvertently confirming Israeli targeting intelligence. Now all they have to do is wait 60 minutes before dropping one of Israel's most potent weapons, the Rafael Spice 2000, you see hanging from each F-16I's wing, represents the convergence of 3 technological revolutions in one 2,000 LB package at $200,000 per unit. These bombs cost about as much as a G-Wagon, but unlike Mercedes-Benz, the military isn't paying for a brand name. They're paying for what lies inside these bombs. Traditional guided bombs rely on GPS, spoof the coordinates, and that expensive bomb can't hit the right side of a barn. But the Spice 2000 is not your normal bomb. Its primary navigation uses GPS. Sure, but that's just the beginning. Inside the nose section, 2 more guidance systems work flawlessly, each backing up the others. The inertial navigation system uses ring laser gyroscopes, spinning at 400 Hz, precisely measuring rotation. That makes Rolex look like a Q watch. 3 accelerometers track every movement in 3 dimensions, calculating position based on the fundamental laws of physics. No outside signals are needed. Even if every GPS satellite suddenly vanished, the INS alone can put the bomb within 30 meters of its target. But the next system is where Israeli engineering gets scary. The electro-optical scene matching technology turns the bomb into a robot with perfect memory during each mission. Planning operators upload high-resolution satellite imagery of the target area, every building, every street corner, and every distinctive feature within a square kilometer. As the bomb falls, its nose camera shoots 60 frames per second, comparing what it sees to what it remembers. The processing power required is staggering. The Spice's computer runs image recognition algorithms that would have required a supercompute in the 1990s. Edge detection identifies building outlines, pattern matching locates specific architectural features, contrast analysis distinguishes targets from backgrounds, all while falling at 300 megahertz. And unfortunately for these bad guys, their time is up at 800 hours. The holding pattern breaks 4 F-16Is bank east in perfect synchronicity, descending through 20,000 FT as they accelerate towards the Lebanese coast beneath their bellies. The Rafael Spice shield tech that blocks enemy signals. Pods wake from standby mode. Their threat libraries contain the electronic fingerprint of every enemy radar system from here to throne. The Lebanese air defense network, a hodgepodge of Soviet-era systems. Some French units and recent Chinese imports light up like a Christmas tree. The aging P-18 Spoon rest enemy radar at Tyre pushes out its distinctive VHF pulses. A more modern Chinese JY-7A south of Sidon joins the chorus. Multiple fire control enemy radars probe the sky, searching for something to lock onto. What they find defies physics. The lead F-16I appears to be at 15,000 FT heading north at 350 knots simultaneously. It's at 25,000 FT heading east at 550 knots. A third return shows it diving through 5,000 FT. The Sky Shield pod isn't just jamming, it's lying with mathematical precision inside each pod. The digital radio frequency memory system performs electronic alchemy when the P-18 enemy radar pulse hits 150 megahertz. The DRFM captures it perfectly. Frequency, pulse, width modulation, everything. Then it retransmits multiple versions each. Slightly modified delay, 1/3 microsecons. And the enemy radar thinks you're 900 megahertz farther away. Shift the frequency by 200 hertz and your speed looks wrong. Combine multiple false returns and the operator's screen looks like a 4-year-old's drawing. As this continues, the pilots monitor their enemy radar warning receivers as new threats appear. An SA-6 straight flush enemy radar paints them from the Bekaa Valley. That distinctive high-pitched warble in their headsets, the Sky Shield automatically categorizes it as a priority threat, allocating more jamming power to its frequency band. The RWR symbol changes from solid to dashed lock. Broken, but the real genius happens when all 4 aircraft coordinate their jamming. The formation leader aircraft designates itself as the lighthouse, broadcasting powerful jamming on all major threat frequencies. The other 3 run their pods in Firefly mode. Quick bursts of jamming that appear and disappear randomly to the Lebanese enemy radar operators. It looks like an entire group of planes is out there. Maybe 2 ground controllers at Beirut, air traffic control, watch their scopes in confusion. Civilian transponders show normally a Middle East Airlines flight climbing out on schedule. But military primary returns dance across their screens in impossible patterns. Ghost formations appear from nowhere, streak across the scope at Mach 2, and then vanish. Real contacts hide among false ones like needles in electronic haystacks. At 1812, the F-161s reach the bomb drop spot. The Lebanese capital spreads below them. The formation splits into 2 elements, the lead in his wingman vector toward Hadath and Herod Herc. The second pair angles south toward Borja. Barajin, each pilot runs through the same checklist master arm on weapons selected release mode. Confirm the lightning targeting pods slew to their first targets, infrared sensors cutting through the evening haze like it doesn't exist in their headsets. The pilots hear Lebanese search enemy radars, growing more frantic, pulse repetition, frequencies increase, scattering patterns, tighten someone down. They know something's wrong, but can't pinpoint what the electronic bubble holds, keeping the F-16s hidden in plain sight, even as they prepare to kick off the holiday festivities. By 1818, lead pilot Pickles, his first Spice 2000, the Bombay acoustic sensor registers separation, a clean release immediately. The F-16 lurches upward, suddenly 2,000 lb lighter. The pilot doesn't watch it fall. He's already banking toward the second target. The first Spice deploys its wing kit 2 seconds later, transforming from a falling chunk of metal into a guided projectile. Its GPS receiver locks on to 5 satellites. Excellent geometry for a precise fix. The initial solution puts it 2.3 kilometers from the target with 43 seconds to impact the flight control computer. Calculates an intercept path in air, 15-degree left turn, 8-degree glide scope. 5 seconds later, the wingman releases over Herod Herc, his target a nondescript 5-story communication Airstrike building that Israeli intelligence says houses drone assembly workshops in its basement. The bomb's camera activates early, catching the evacuation chaos in thermal clarity. Cars clog every street, hundreds of heat signatures flee on foot. Building itself glows warmer than its neighbors, evidence of underground activity generating heat. By 18:18 and 15 seconds, 4 bombs are in flight, each pursuing its own target. With robotic determination, the formation lead second weapon aims for a Hezbollah logistics node, disguised as an auto parts store. The wingman's second release targets what appears to be a communication unity center, but allegedly conceals communications equipment 3 floors underground. As the bomb descends through 10,000 FT, the camera activates the familiar Beirut skyline, appears mosque minarets, apartment blocks, the Mediterranean coastline. The computer matches these features against its memory, calculating precisely where it is at 5,000 FT GPS signals. Start getting sketchy Lebanese tech that blocks enemy signals. Units probably using Russian-supplied systems pump out false signals to deceive the guidance system. The Spice's computer notices the discrepancy. Immediately, GPS says it's 500 meters east of where the INS and camera think it is. Without hesitation, it ignores the GPS, entirely trusting its eyes in internal navigation. The terminal phase is where the magic happens at 1,000 FT. The camera switches to narrow field of view mode, zooming in on the specific building. The algorithm looks for pre-programmed features, that ventilation unit on the northwest corner, the distinctive roof line in the shape of the adjacent parking lot. When confidence hits 98%, the bomb communication, it's to the final approach. Those fins on the tail can deflect 20 degrees in any direction, making corrections 50 times per second. Too much crosswind from the west, the fins compensate thermal. Updraft from the city adjusted, the bomb literally flies itself to the target, threading between buildings if necessary. The trigger settings uploaded at Ramont David determine what happens next. There is an impact trigger for surface targets and a delayed trigger for breaking through tonight. It's all delayed. The bombs need to punch deep before detonating, turning these underground facilities into tombs. Then just before 1819 local time, the first impact was registered. The Blue 109 penetrator warhead hits the building's roof at 267 ons, the hardened steel case designed initially to pierce aircraft. Shelters treats the civilian structure like tissue paper. It punches through the roof slab, barely slowing the 5th floor offices. By the look of the debris, offers no resistance. 4th floor, 3rd floor, 2nd floor. The warhead finally lodges in the basement ceiling, then kaboom in the confined basement space. The pressure can't dissipate normally, instead it reflects off of the concrete walls, doubling and increasing intensity. The floor above now, the ceiling of a pressure chamber, lifts like a cork from a champagne bottle. The second bomb hits a few seconds later, just as the first building collapses, then the third, then the fourth. Shock waves from multiple explosions meet and merge, creating complex interference patterns that amplify destruction in some areas, while canceling in others. By 1820, southern Beirut looked like a giant had kicked over an anthill. 4 mushroom clouds rise into the evening sky, their stems growing larger from secondary explosions. The pilots don't admire their handiwork. They're already beating feet back home, diving toward the deck as every surviving air defense system in Lebanon goes active. The jamming pods work overtime, creating false targets behind them as they sprint for the Mediterranean in safety. But this attack is not over yet. At 1842, as smoke still rises from Beirut's southern suburbs, 2 F-15 ROM fighters approach the Mediterranean at 30,000 FT. These 2 are the second wave sent in. With the big guns, simple physics drives the choice of F-15s for this phase. When you need to drop 5,000 B penetrators from maximum height, you need serious muscle. The F-15's twin F-100 PW-229 engines make $58,000 LBI, of combined thrust essential for maintaining height and speed, while hauling $10,000 kilobas of bombs per aircraft. The two-seat configuration proves its worth here, while the pilot manages the demanding flight profile. The weapons systems officer operates the APG-40 enemy radar and the Lantern targeting pod, ensuring precise weapon delivery. These aren't the nimble F-15s that just finished dancing over the Capitol. The F-15 is purpose-built for deep strike missions, a 600-kilometer combat radius conformal fuel tanks that don't create drag and reinforced hardpoints, rated for the heaviest bombs in Israel's inventory tonight. That means GBU-28s. Each aircraft hauls two GBU-28s at 5,000 lbr each. These aren't bombs, they're telephone poles filled with explosives. The warhead case is machined from a single piece of hardened steel alloy designed to remain intact while punching through 6 mm of reinforced concrete or 30 meters of earth. Only the F-15 has the payload capacity and high height performance to deliver these monsters effectively. Tonight they're aimed at something buried deep beneath the hillside near Ankara. The target represents everything Israel fears about the groups. Reconstruction satellite imagery from the past 6 months shows suspicious construction activity, dump trucks arriving full and leaving empty ventilation shafts appearing where none should exist, and power lines running to apparently empty fields. Israeli intelligence assesses that this is a high-probability communication and bunker, possibly a manufacturing site, and definitely worth visiting. The F-15's APG-70 enemy radar paints the target area in synthetic aperture mode, creating a detailed ground map. Despite the darkness, the weapons systems officer in the rear cockpit coordinates with the second aircraft, ensuring their releases will bracket the underground facility. At 1844, the lead F-15 begins its attack run. Unlike the F-16s that released from medium height, the GBU-28 needs height to build breaking through velocity from 35,000 ft. It will reach nearly supersonic speed before impact, converting height into kinetic energy that no amount of concrete can resist. The pilot pickles both weapons in rapid sequence, 10,000 thoroughbred bombs, separate from the aircraft, beginning its long fall towards the Lebanese hillside. The laser guidance system won't activate until the final moments. For now, GPS and INS handled navigation, the bombs adjusting their path in air with small fin movements at 2,000 ft. The laser guidance activates the F-15's targeting pod, illuminates the precise impact point with coded laser energy. The bomb's seeker head detects the reflection and makes final corrections. 3M left 2M forward at this speed. There's no room for error. Impact comes moments later. The first GBU-28 hits the hillside at 3 tonpel mess, dirt and rock, offer no resistance. The penetrator bores through the earth, its hardened case designed to survive the enormous deceleration forces, 1,500 20 millimeters, 25 meters at 27 meter depth. The bomb encounters the bunker ceiling, 2 meters of steel, reinforced concrete, designed to withstand conventional airstrikes against the GBU-28's focused energy. It might as well be cardboard. The penetrator punches through and the delay trigger counts down. Unlike the Spice 2000's millisecond delays, the GBU-28 waits a full 0.5 seconds, enough time to ensure the warhead is deep inside the target. Then 630 kilos of triangle explosive detonate in the combined space. The second GBU-28 impacts 2 seconds later. 40 minutes south, its breaking through path intersects a different section of the bunker complex. When it detonates, the two blast zones merge underground, creating a catastrophic pressure differential. Ammunition stocks cook off in chain reactions, and fuel supplies add their explosions to the underground inferno. But the real confirmation comes from the secondary explosions. At 1845, the hillside erupts like a volcano. The ground heaves upward, then collapses into a crater 60 meters across what was hiding there. Weapons, equipment, personnel is now part of the geological record. Bye for now.